What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today is all about sensory play. So sensory play is an integral part of a child's development because it really helps them understand the world around them as well as their ability to function in it. So with that in mind, I've put together 3 very simple do-it-yourself sensory activities. First up is exploring with paints. Pop-up sponges are the equivalent of magic to kids, so I grabbed these from Trader Joe's and I cut them into smaller pieces and incorporated some shapes. It is hard to get fancy with these as they are super tough to cut through. So my setup's very simple. I've got my pop-up sponges, I've got my finger paint from the 99-cent store, my water for the pop-up sponges, and some paint brushes. I also already have the paper taped outside. So this is a bit of an activity inside of an activity. Kai's getting sensory input from temperature of the water, the texture of the sponge. He's also working on hand strengthening by squeezing the water from the sponge. And eventually we will use the sponges along with fingers, hands, and brushes to paint. Another simple yet effective way to facilitate sensory integration is to let your little one run around barefoot. Yellow. So good, babe. Oh, good job. It needs paint though. Kai still isn't certain about goopy textures, so he would actually benefit from quite a bit more sensory play. The hope is that with repeated exposure, Kai becomes more accepting of various textures. You can see here that even with a little bit of time, he's become much more accepting of having the paint all over his hands. You don't like it? It's okay. So I'll use a different texture to take off the texture that he's not a fan of. If your kiddos are slow to warm with the paint being on their hands, you can try modeling. So I'm just painting my own hand and demonstrating that it's fun to help warm Kai up to the idea. Paint mommy's hand. Good job. Paint, paint, paint. Get my fingers. Get mommy's fingers. Ready? 1, 2, 3. High five! So with some encouragement and a bit of luck, I'm able to get Kai to give it a go. Should I give it a high five? Okay. High five! Here we go with sensory activity number 2. These play noodles are from the 99-cent store, although they are for ages 4 and up, so Kai won't do this today. So you can create whatever you want by simply dipping the ends of these noodles in water and pushing them together. I love that these noodles incorporate sensory as well as fine motor skills. Just be careful because if you get the noodles too wet, they will disintegrate. There's my work of art. The third and final activity today is to create a bird feeder. So these are the items I'll be using today to create the bird feeder. Feel free to modify as needed. So the first step is to take your nut butter of choice and place enough into a microwave-safe dish that will cover your pine cone. If your nut butter was in the refrigerator, I recommend heating it up for about a minute or so until it's easy to manage. This consistency or smoother seems to work really well. Next, you're going to grab some of your bird seeds and pour them into a separate container. Now I'm grabbing the pine cone, seeds, and butter and taking them outside. So now you want to roll your pine cone in your nut butter so that the bird seeds have something to stick to. Kai did not really understand that this was almond butter, something he consumes quite regularly, so I'm warming him up. Again, if your kid isn't quite sure about the textures they're touching, they can use another object to touch the pine cone or use the container to roll it around. That way they're not directly making contact.
Almond butter, yeah.
So Kai just made the connection that this was almond butter, and now he's much more accepting of touching and playing.
Good boy. Get more.
Nothing like almond butter and bird seeds. And now the bird feeder is basically complete. I'm just going to attach it using some string and a hot glue gun. And there you have it, guys. 3 very easy do-it-yourself sensory activities for your kids. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.